Hello. My name is Rivas Mayoke and I'm the citizen of the world, like you are probably. If you're not living in some distant future and you're living on some distant planet and watching me in your records of the history, trying to figure out what the hell happened here. The citizen of the world. Do you think that countries can have personality disorders? Because I sometimes view countries as personalities. Each country has its own unique trait. And I think that countries can suffer from things like narcissism or a split personality disorder. I really do. Because some countries grew so large and are consistent of so many different parts that it's like watching different personalities in one body having a battle, quarreling all the time and making havoc. I think that condition makes countries less efficient, and it drains their resources and they can't never decide where to go next. But maybe it's a good thing that bigger countries are suffering from such disorders, because bigger countries have more resources, and if they were united, they will be terrifying to smaller countries. So I don't think that's really a bad thing. But I think that it's very problematic when a country has a narcissistic personality disorder, that's not a personality disorder. I just said it wrong. Narcissistic personality traits, because it's not yet classified as a disorder. So when a country is narcissistic, I think it's really can badger the world and abuse everyone around them, just like you get abused in a narcissistic relationship. So, on the other hand, there are other countries that are so large, but they don't have inner dialogue at all. There's just one units talking in the name of all. Everyone are underneath it are just like, yes master, yes master, and that's our dictatorships. I find them fascinating because Croatia was inside of a dictatorship as well when Tito was still alive. So it's a strange state of being when your country is like a submerged, disgruntled organism that can't voice out their these concerns, and has to just go, yeah, yeah. I know if I say something, you will just imprison me. So yeah, whatever you say, yeah, clap, clap, yeah, yeah, you're right. I don't know how uh, dictators have stomach for that. I just always wondered that. What kind of a personality you have to have? Not when you inherit a dictatorships and you're trying to fill out your father's shoes and be the best dictator you can be because you don't want to let your deceased father down. But when you create a dictatorship, when you're the first one in the row, what kind of personality is that? Or is that something I don't want to know? I don't want to meet someone like that because it sounds scary. It really sounds scary. And I think that families in a smaller scope of social groups, families, just like states, can suffer from personality disorders and traits like individuals do. Because, in a sense, family unit can behave like one organism where you have different roles assigned to different parts of the family. And for me, the scariest family is the dictatorship one, where just one person in that family gets to decide what is to be done and how is what is life and what are values they all must abide by. I can understand why we are as a whole trying to eradicate such structures where one person has too many powers, because even if someone is not abusing their power, the mere fear that they might can invoke terrible fates. And it's always the question of the mood. um, I will mention Ellen DeGeneres and her infamous debacle over the behavior she had towards her staff. It may, regardless what I think of that incident, it just made me think about how people who are famous, people who have a lot of power, are probably surrounded by people who don't want to call them out, who don't want to correct their behavior, and will most likely just flatter the person, be just that yes master person, and be disgruntled inside. And I think we see that a lot of in the past year, just people coming out, expressing their disgruntled state, to claiming that they were owned and they were abused, and some of them were. But in most cases, since we don't live, most of us, some of us, in countries where slavery is legal, you weren't owned, but the state of being owned as a person is an easy state to fall into. There just needs to be a charismatic person who expresses themselves and demands their needs to be met without hesitation. And that person just has to meet enough of people who are obedient by nature, who will just be, yes, yes, right away, whatever you say, I want to please you. And if you do that for long enough of period of time, if a person is surrounded by people who are just yes, yes, whatever you say, it will be there in a moment. uh, how is possible for that kind of person who is constantly reinforced and reassured that their demands are not unreasonable, and that they are still a fair person? How is that person to decide and discern when their behavior becomes malicious, and when the people around them are starting to fear them? Because I don't think it's a process that happens overnight. I think there's this time where people are eager to praise you, and then it just slips away to the place where they are disgruntled, or maybe even afraid to lose their jobs, and don't want to express it and continue to act as they are still willing participants, even if they are disgruntled. And it's such a tricky process. When that happens, how do you decide who is at fault and who made who suffer? Because the person in charge, the one making out demands, can always say, I was gaslighted. They never said to me anything. I didn't know I was crossing the line. How could I know if they never said it's too much? Because when you want for your needs to be met and you are a strong personality, you will say it. And people who are not accustomed to say their needs will often just comply out of it's easier. It's just like going down the stream. You don't have to go into conflict. And if you don't go into conflict for a long enough, the pattern of a master and servant is created. And for me, sooner or later, someone will be fed up with that kind of it doesn't have to happen. Some people have those kind of relationships that last a lifetime, and they all seem to be fine with their roles. But I think that our ideals of a global society where we are all equal and everything is fair and everyone's needs are met tend to overlook that we are not all the same, and not all cultures are the same, and some people want to stay in their roles. Some people want to have their princess they will adore. Some people want to be adored. And just the mere phenomena of Twilight and 50 Shades of Grey should inform us that there are enough of people who want that kind of a power dynamic in a relationship to know that not all of us are wired the same or desire the same kind of relationships and same kinds of valuations. Anyway, I don't know if that was helpful, but when you're seeking mental health, uh, it's good to write down and to realize what mental health is for you, what a good relationship is for you, and then try to find it and see, is it really so and does it fit? Because more often than not, we go and seek counsel with others who have our good and best interest at heart, but their view of what life should be doesn't have to correlate with our own. Do you understand? Just, I'm saying, find people who have lives you wish to obtain and seek guidance with them, because if you take guidance from someone you don't wish to resemble or live by the same rules, it's just counterproductive. So the question of mental health is not an easy one. It's not a simple question where a psychologist says to you, oh, this is right and this is wrong. It's a question about your personality. It's a question about your value, and it's a question about what do you want to experience, obtain, and learn in this lifetime. Because not all of us want the same things. We are moving in different directions, and depending upon where you want to end up, um, try to find a train who will take you there. Because I think that even if you end up on the top of the mountain and have a great view, you will be disgruntled if you wanted to go to the cave and see the crystals on the wall. Just saying, keep in mind your goals, and good luck on your journeys. Bye.